Body, it's your boy Heaven Hollywood back on the IE Network, and this is the Heaven Hollywood Report, and let's get to it. So we have to talk about these three lovely ladies on the screen: Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, and Rihanna. So we're going to get it started off with Megan Thee Stallion. She did sign a new deal with Netflix. She's going to be executive producer and creator of certain projects and some TV series. So Megan said that this has always been a dream of hers to create projects, and she's looking forward to her, partnership with Netflix. This, of course, comes on the brinks of her case that's going on with Tory Lanez. So here's the thing. Is this a great publicist move? Absolutely. Did they have this deal already set? Absolutely. They already had this deal in place, but that's what publicists do. I did speak to my friend G about this. Shout out to Gina. And she just took me into the mind of publicists, man. They said she told me that they have 4 to 5 stories in their back pocket that they just leave hanging around and not announce it unless there's something bad that happens. And they use that. Those are called reflectors or deflectors, right? So they're called deflectors. Kind of like how deflectors, at night on bikes, you put them on there and they kind of like deflect, off of the lights and what have you. That's what that's usually called, for a deflection, to make things go the other way. When you use the term deflection in sports, if the pass got deflected, it goes the other way. That's what those are designed for. So yes, it is definitely a deal that she signed. And I think this kind of lets you know also that Netflix does not feel threatened by her cases. Because Netflix is not going to give her this new venture and then sign her on. I could see if she was already signed on and something happened and they pulled her off. They're not going to sign Megan Thee Stallion to a deal of any sort. If they felt as though she's going to be having some issues in court or, what have you. And another good thing is, if it turns out that Megan was lying on Tory Lanez, at least she'll have something else other than the music business, because, the flaky music business, they'll definitely have turned on her by then. And then she can still have this, though. So shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Queen Nicki Minaj. As people would know, Nicki is gearing up to release some music, 2022. Especially right after this case is over with. Now, Nicki allegedly was trying to get back in the works with 2 people. One was Swizz Beats. Now, her working with Swizz Beats again, he's going to probably have to check with Alicia Keys with that, because if people remember, there was some issues with Nicki working with Swizz Beats before. Allegedly, Alicia Keys didn't like it. Right around the time that Nicki fell out with Beyonce or stopped hanging with Beyonce, Alicia Keys was still hanging around Beyonce. So, she has to play, you have to follow the queen, Beyonce. And Alicia Keys had made it known that she had some issues with Swizz Beats and Nicki, and when they were in the studio in the past. So we all heard about the alleged, Nicki and Swizz, antics in the studio, allegedly. So she does want to work back with Swizz Beats, but we have to see what Alicia says about that. Also, Dr. Luke. So Dr. Luke is now producing. Now, what he's doing is, with some of his projects, he's producing some of these projects under a new synonym. How do you pronounce it? Synonym? Just like an alias name. All right? Taylor Tracks or something like that. However, he did produce with Saweetie under the name Dr. Luke, with Saweetie under the name Dr. Luke. Now, if you remember, Dr. Luke has worked with Nicki Minaj in the past. He did Pills and Potion for Nicki. And Nicki Minaj really has no problem with Dr. Luke. It's just going to come down to if her management stinks with all of the stuff that has been, her name has been intertwined with, that has to do with some form of whether it was her brother, whether it was her husband, they're going to have to decide whether it's worth, 6ix9ine, it's worth her working with them. But at the end of the day, Nicki's going to probably have the final say on it. For the last few years, she hasn't really been listening to her management. She pretty much been calling the shots on her own. So if Nicki says she's perfectly okay with working with Dr. Luke, because she did like working with him, and Pills and Potions was a good record. So at the end of the day, if she says she's going to work with Dr. Luke, she's going to work with Dr. Luke. Now, moving on to Riri. She has a documentary from Amazon that up until last year, 2020, was 4 years in the making already. Now, Peter Berg is the director of this documentary. This documentary, I was told, was supposed to come out last July. Then it was supposed to come out this July. So July 4th, matter of fact. They said the summer of 2021 was supposed to come out. So that documentary, of course, as we know, did not come out. We are now in December. So I did tweet Peter Berg. Okay? And I just asked him, is the documentary coming out? Peter Berg tweeted back to me, yes, it is. Stay tuned. Now, according to what I was told, they finished wrapping this documentary. And and you've been doing this now for 5 years, and for it not to be wrapped, it's hilarious. What happened was the documentary was over, and it was going to end with her and Hassan, and her pretty much leaving the doors of hope open, saying, this is the man that I plan on living the rest of my life with, having babies with. But then her and Hassan broke up. Okay, so this is what I was told. Her and Hassan broke up. So that kind of changed up the documentary a little bit. Then Rihanna got to a point where she said she did not want Hassan in the documentary. At first she was going to leave him in there. Then she was saying she doesn't really want to relive that again. And on top of that, Hassan doesn't really want to be in the documentary. He hates the public eye. If you remember when they split up, he was hitting up blogs, telling them to take down pictures of him and stuff like that. So he doesn't like the public eye. So it'd be nothing for him to not be in the documentary. He doesn't really want to be in it. But Peter Berg says that it's still coming out. I don't know when. I say it's not coming out. I'm going to be honest with you. I say it's not coming out, but he's told me that it was, but he's been saying that now for 5 years? They're working on the doc. So we'll look out for that. Rihanna does have music coming out the top of 2022. So those were the 3 stories. Megan Thee Stallion with the Netflix deal and the crazy PR move, the deflection. Nicki Minaj wanting to work with Swizz Beats and Dr. Luke. The Swizz Beats thing, Alicia Keys, heard some things about Nicki and Swizz Beats in the studio back around 2012. And, she had some questions about that with Swizz Beats, a while back. And also the Dr. Luke, Nicki Minaj wanting to team up with Dr. Luke again. And it's ultimately going to be her decision as far as will the whole SA rumors, damper her working with him. And of course, Rihanna's documentary, I say it's not coming out. Peter Berg tweeted me back, DM back, and said it's coming out. So we'll see. It's your boy Heaven Hollywood. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.